Hey everyone, Kevin here with Divinely Designed, and I have my third project for Heartfelt Creations Design Team call. If you've been watching my videos, my first one was a 3D project that I created an SVG file for and then made this sort of 3D lighthouse surrounded by flowers. The second project I did was a 12 by 12 photo layout done in sort of very dark colors using the Blazing Poppy collection. And today I thought I would do a more traditional, or sort of in the traditional style of Heartfelt Creations. Since my other two projects were not quite so traditional for them, I don't think. I thought I wanted to do something that was very Heartfelt Creations, like you look at it and you immediately recognize that that's Heartfelt Creations. So I'm going to do a card, kind of a big card. I'm actually going to use as my card base one of the flip fold inserts. This is actually a craft flip fold insert from the Pocket and Flip Fold Inserts B package. So that's what we'll be using for the card base. And then I have some paper that I'm using from the Classic Rose collection. So I used this kind of very pale pink with a little bit of green, and I used the 12 by 12 paper that I actually used two pieces of it to cut them down. And then there's also a tiny little piece of trim that came also from the paper pack as well. For flowers, I'm going to be using here was the Classic Rose. So I used the Classic Rose stamp and die set for that. These are just colored with a sponge dauber and some archival inks. I sort of did them in hues of pink and sort of this kind of salmon-y coral kind of color. And then I did some in vellum. I did the Sun-Kissed Floor stamp and die, which I stamped with Versamark and then embossed in white, and then colored with Spectrum Noir alcohol markers. And then I added some sparkle, so hopefully you can kind of see how sparkly that flower is. That actually comes from, it's this product here. It's called Glitter Crystal. They're these tiny, tiny little flat discs of plastic. I got this from Joanne Fabrics. It's really cheap. It's by Treehouse Studio is the company. And they're these little hexagon plastic shiny things. It's great. It gives a great shimmer, but like most glitter, it gets everywhere. So just be aware. It's pretty cool. You'll see I also added a little bit of sparkle kind of on my Classic Roses here. And for that, they're sort of dimensional. I used a product from Stampendous called Shaved Ice, which is, I think, is really cool. It's just fluffy and has this iridescent kind of hologram quality to it. It's pretty cool. Okay, so those are those flowers. And then I used the Lilac and Posy Bouquet stamp, which I stamped out and then fussy cut. And I colored that using some Zig markers in pinks. And then I added some vellum that I colored in archival inks just to add a little bit of a three-dimensional quality to them. And then I have some other leaves. These leaves I used from the Delicate Asters die cut. And then, let's see, what else am I missing? Oh, I have some other cutouts here. I have the decorative oval die cut, as well as one of the regal borders, which I also cut out using this other dot one from the Regal Borders one to sort of give it a backing. And then I also have from the paper pack just this little saying that says enjoying life's beautiful moments. And last but not least, I have a stamp. This actually comes from the lilac and Posy Bouquet stamp set also. It says life is good, and I think that'll be my sentiment on the inside of the card. Okay, so I think that is everything. I'm going to put my flowers to the side because those are things we're going to do last. Now, this is a decent sized card, and this one has kind of a lot of folds in it. And I thought about doing something kind of interesting with the fold and maybe putting like a gift card or something like that. But I think I'm actually just going to use it in a little bit more traditional. So this is going to be the front of my card that you're going to open like this. So this flap that I have toward the back, I've just scored and I'm going to glue down. And this flap, which actually kind of is a double flap, I've just scored here and I'm going to glue that down as well. So that's going to be my first step. Now, this particular fold out has these two folds here, which is going to give it some dimension kind of in the middle of my card. So I've already just scored those so that this will be the edge of my card. And then when you open it, you're also going to have this little section in here. Now I'm going to wait to see what it looks like with the paper in place. I may leave the craft just with that color, or I may cut out a small strip of paper to glue in there, but for right now I'm leaving it. Now my idea is that I use this 12 by 12 piece of paper and I cut it in such a way that this piece that says True Beauty is going to go on the inside here, like that, so that will sort of be hidden. And then on the outside, since we have sort of this side, which is not quite as long as the card itself, I cut these pieces of paper so this one will fit in here, and then this one will go on the outside. And what I tried to do is just try to line them up. So I used the second 12 by 12 piece of paper, so it would almost give the impression that it's just one continuous piece of paper. That doesn't have to be perfect, but that's what I attempted to do. So I'm just going to glue these down. Now let me give you sizes just so you know. Now I cut these a little bit bigger than these, just so I can use an X-Acto knife to sort of trim them up so they're nice and neat. But this top one is 5 inches by 8.5, and the one on the inside is 6 1/4 by 8. What did I say? 8.5? Gosh, I forgot that quick. 8.5. And then the one that goes on the inside is, again, 5 inches by 8.5. So, okay. So I'm going to glue this one on the back page here first. Okay, now I'm going to do the same for the front piece and just glue this down. Now when I cut this one, I actually cut it I was trying to do it actually just perfect, so I didn't give myself any overhang, except on this edge I think maybe, but we'll see. But that's okay, we're going to use the trim on the bottom to sort of continue this look that this paper basically stays here. Okay, so hopefully you can see, like, again, what I tried to do is line those, I cut them in such a way that they line up, so it almost looks like one continuous piece of paper. Now mine is off a tiny bit, but again, I'm just trying to do it so it might make the eye kind of follow the one piece along. Now, I was worried that I would have these little, edges that might show, so that's why I'm using these smaller pieces of borders, and they're going to go at the top and the bottom, and then we're going to do some on that other piece of paper. So now I didn't line the words up here on this little border here because I think I only had two of them, so I couldn't work it out perfectly. But again, it's more just to give the eye sort of this one continuous feeling. Now I want this decorative border here, this sort of flourish, to go here, so it would be part of the thing that you would use to lift the card up. So I want to put that in place before I glue my piece of paper down here. Okay, so I'm going to glue this white piece first in here and then attach it there. So now I'm going to put this on here. Like that. Now, something I didn't think about was the back here. And this is still a little lopsided. So I think what I'm going to do before I put this paper down is cut out another piece of paper from my spare here, just so I don't have this purple, because I don't really want the purple showing. Okay, let me do that first. I'll be right back. Okay, so I cut out another piece just so I can cover that up and use the same paper from this 12 by 12 that I'm using, and then I glued this down. And you notice I also cut out a really skinny strip and glued that down in that middle section there. I didn't like the look of the entire thing being craft paper, so I did that in, and I like that look, how you get that little sort of differentiation there. You can kind of tell that it has dimension to it. So we're going to have some flowers on the inside as well as on the outside. And my sentiment that I'm going to do is just life is good. So I think I'm just going to put that kind of right in the middle here. And I want to test it out first. So I just have some white scrap paper. This is Midnight Archival ink from Catherine Pooler Designs. If you're not familiar with Catherine Pooler, she has a YouTube channel. Okay, that's good. I just wanted to practice it. And I think this is just going to be right in the middle here. And I put it kind of at a little angle. Great. Okay. And then I'm going to use the cutouts that I did from the Lilac and Posy collection. And I think I'm just going to add these over here. And this is why these are, I kind of kept them flat because, you know, obviously we're going to close this a little bit. But I like the idea of having kind of a little surprise of flowers on the inside. And you'll notice I did put some frills in the inside. They're just on there with Art Glitter Dries Clear glue. And I think I'm going to use some of these leaves, maybe just a couple, to give it a little bit of differentiation here. But I'm going to keep these pretty flat, obviously, because they're getting closed up. Maybe we'll do two down here. Something like that. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Okay, I think that's good. I'm just going to put a piece of paper here in case that isn't quite dry yet, just so when I close it. Okay, so that's the inside with my sentiment, and now we're going to do the outside. I have the decorative oval, and what I've done is taken these little tiny foam squares, and honestly I cannot remember where I got these. I want to say it was AC Moore, but I could be wrong. It was just in the regular scrapbooking section, but I took them out of my package, and so I don't even remember what brand they are, but they're just really tiny, tiny squares. And I put each one of those on the intersections of my oval. So I'm just going to add that sort of centered here. Centered in this panel, not in the whole thing here. Okay, now why I did that was as I was doing sort of a dry layout of this, when I had it flat against the paper, because this is such a pale pink behind here, it almost got lost a little bit. So by raising it up a little bit, it creates a tiny little shadow beneath it, and that's just enough to sort of set it off here. I'm definitely, not trying to go for wild, crazy, bold here, but I wanted something more subtle in this card. So, okay. So for a little bit of bling, I actually have some Swarovski crystals. These are flat-backed, and they are, I think the size is 12SS. I think that's the size. So anyway, I have some of those, and I'm going to put those in the little cross sections here. Okay, you saw me use this tool. This is We Are Memory Keeper's Quick Stick, the Precision Pickup and Placement tool. And it has this little sticky end to it that's only very, very slightly sticky. So it's perfect for picking up those little things, especially if you're someone like me who has big fat fingers. So that's that. Okay. So now we're going to do our layout of flowers. Now I could have done my layout and not put probably crystals on every little intersection because some of it's going to get covered up here. But, Okay, so I think I'm going to play around with the layout for a little bit, and I'll probably just speed this up as I get things finalized. Then I'm going to hot glue them down, but I'm going to play with the layout first. Okay, there we go. I think that's all finished. I am probably going to, I have some hot glue threads, so I'm going to kind of go through and clean those up. And and I have a Spectrum Noir sparkle pen that I may add a little bit of shimmer, I think, to the little buds. These are just, flowers that I rolled up really tight to make look like buds. And then I hot glued them to the end of these little swirly things, which are super cute, I think. But I think I might add a little bit of shimmer to them because they just appear a little bit dull. And same thing with this sentiment in the middle. I might add a little bit of shimmer there too. So, and the other thing I think I'm going to do is, when this is all set, is I might add a little bit more Dries Clear glue on top of the prills, just so, because they're on the inside and they're gonna get like moved around a little bit. I think it might be good to make sure they're really well secured. So I think I'm going to do that eventually as well. So, okay, that's it. Comments, questions, leave them below. If you like this video, click on that thumbs up button. And if you aren't subscribed to my channel, click on subscribe. And check back here for more crafty and soapy videos. And I'll see you all later. Everybody have a great weekend. Bye.